Net profit does not really tell us anything. If it's a percentage of what? What's the top line revenue? How did they get there? What are all of the things that go into the business to get to that bottom line? The bottom line is what we want, but we have to do this crazy thing. It's called, I don't know, you may have heard of it. It's called math. Okay. So just beware when somebody starts talking to you about net profit. Hello again, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach and your podcast host. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to February of 2024. Crazy. It is February is the best month of the year. It's my birthday. Yeah. So I don't know. Start showering me with the presents, please. But it's also the shortest month, which means it's gonna fly by. And next thing you know, we're here in March, and you're gonna be sitting there going, "I've just wasted the first 3 months of the year in this job I really don't like and have no control over my life." But you're fearful of making that transition, jumping in full time, or perhaps even keeping your job because we all get addicted. The true crack is that salary that we get from our jobs, and so one of the things we're going to talk about today is kind of the money side of franchise ownership and how to determine it, and probably more importantly, how to not determine it. And one thing that seems like it's a great kind of number or statistic or percentage is net profit, but it can be incredibly misleading and take you down a path you don't need to be on. So we're going to help you with that today. First, as a reminder, who we are, FranCoach is a national search firm dedicated to working with individuals like yourself interested in owning a franchise. We are partnered with well over 600 franchises in about 70 different industries. Our number one goal is to simply properly educate you on franchise ownership to determine if this is the path for you. And then number two is to help find your absolute best franchise match out there. That's what we're doing. So now, for today, I want to talk about the money. There's a phrase that we will say often to the point of being annoying, but I don't care when it comes to money and franchise ownership. The money follows the fit. And I'm going to say that again. The money follows the fit. The fit, you don't follow the money. And the way I use as an example is if there is a franchise that is really dependent on the owner being great at and enjoying cold calling, going to knock on doors, going out to generate business for their particular franchise. And you are looking at that franchise and you're going, "Oh my gosh, look how happy these owners are. Look how much money they're making. That sounds awesome. Sign me up. I'm following the money." Except the fit isn't there. You hate cold calling. You're terrible at sales. You don't like people. And maybe you don't even want to be full-time in the business. All of the things that are required by that particular franchise. You will never, ever, ever get the money that those folks are getting because it is the fit. So money follows the fit. But when we start to kind of get close to finding the fit, how do we determine this? And so one thing that will come up often is the phrase net profit. Okay. So it sounds like a really important thing. It's the net profit of a business. Well, this franchise tells me they can get a net profit of, 30%. This owner tells me they have a net profit of 25%. Awesome. That sounds amazing. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Sign me up. But hold your horses, pump your brakes. Net profit does not really tell us anything. Right. So number one, if it's a percentage of what, right? What's the top line revenue? How did they get there? What are all of the things that go into the business to get to that bottom line? That the bottom line is what we want, but we have to do this crazy thing. It's called, I don't know, you may have heard of it. It's called math. Okay. So just beware when somebody starts talking to you about net profit. It's this percentage, it's this dollar amount, whether it's the franchisor or a franchisee. Now, does that mean they're misleading you? Not necessarily. If it's a franchise owner, they're telling you their particular business, and that's That's one of the beauties of talking to a franchise owner in this journey. But unless we see the math. So I'll give you a couple examples of why this is dangerous. Is so let's say we have two franchise owners in the same system. Okay. They're both making, just for argument's sake, they're both making $1 million in revenue. Okay. Awesome. Um, one of them has a net profit of $100,000 and the other one has a net profit of $300,000. Like, okay, well, why the difference? Well, let's say one of them is taking every single expense they can attached to the business and they're running it through there. They're compensating themselves pretty heavily as an owner, which is your right to do. And the other owner for the other one is doing none of those things. They're not running any expenses through the business. They're not compensating themselves. Maybe they have another business. They have a job, right? Whatever that might be. Uh, so the net is misleading from that standpoint because they are how they are running the business, in particular, how they are compensating themselves as owners. Okay. So how do we work around this? Again, it's called math. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on figuring out what does it cost to run the business? How much money per month, right? No different than we do our households, right? How much does it cost for me to run my household? Here's my mortgage. Here's all my utilities. Here's the grocery. Here's the 26 times we DoorDash, whatever it might be, all of those things. How much does it cost? Well, that's how much money I need to be able to bring in to pay all the bills so I don't get kicked out of my house. Okay. So same thing with the business. So what are our costs? And a good chunk of this we'll be able to get in the FDD in item 7 that will outline the cost and the fees. It's not the end all be all. It's not everything, but it is a good starting point. So what are our cost of goods? Or what's the stuff we're selling, if anything? What's our cost of labor? What are our fixed costs? Is there rent? What are we spending on marketing? Again, staff is in that cost of labor. Some is going to be fixed, some is tied into perhaps tied into the business. All of those different types of things. Is there things within the franchise? There's the royalties, maybe there's a tech fee, all of that. What of mine as the owner am I running in through the business? My vehicle, my cell phone, my internet, the polo I'm wearing, well, that doesn't today, that has, FranCoach on it or Franchising 101 podcast. All of those things are now cost to the business. So whatever that number is it 5,000? Is it 25,000? Whatever it is per month. So that's what we want to figure out first, because people will talk about another phrase I think people throw out there, sometimes just because they don't know what else to throw out there, but like, oh, what's my return on investment? Again, probably not the smartest question with this, because your true return doesn't come until you sell the business. What you want to figure out is, when do I stop putting my money into this business and the business pays for itself? So how much does it take to run the business? Then let's look at the revenue. How do we determine the revenue? It could be a food franchise where we know throughout their entire system, the average ticket is $12.92. Okay, so let's make it easy. $13. Well, how many transactions do we need to get over the course of the month to pay that, whatever that was, $25,000 monthly expenses? Simple math, right? Don't ask me to do 13 divided by, but you get the point, right? So we can look at that. Maybe it is something that is more project based. It's a bigger ticket. Hey, this is we're a painting franchise, and our average ticket is $6,000 a month. It cost us, 15 grand a month to run the business. Okay, well, geez, once I get 3 of them done, 3 projects done, I've already paid the bills for the business. This is what we want to be able to do. And again, revenue, some of which can be in the FDD, but you're also going to get a chance to talk to owners. The franchisors can share things that are reported by the owners, but no franchise legally can tell you this is how much you're going to make. No matter how much everybody else is making in that system, you could suck. So no matter what everybody else is doing, if it's a bad fit, you don't follow the plan, you're lazy, all of those things. Hey everyone, I want to take a moment to spotlight an exciting offer from our partners at Reshift Media. Reshift Media's Brand Amplifier is an award-winning digital marketing platform designed to fit the specific needs of franchise organizations. The dashboard allows national and local teams to quickly and easily manage social content and digital advertising across dozens, hundreds, even thousands of locations. The Brand Amplifier will use automation and machine learning to help franchise systems save time and dramatically improve their digital marketing performance. When a campaign is activated, the Brand Amplifier automatically geo-targets advertising to potential customers around each store and will insert local information such as city, neighborhood, or pricing, which will increase both relevance and performance. Launching a campaign takes less than 5 minutes. It's just that easy. And franchise companies that use the Brand Amplifier routinely see a 500% or more increase in digital performance. That's amazing, folks. Over 500% increase. And best of all, the Brand Amplifier team is currently offering a 50% off for a limited time. So be sure to visit brandamplifier.io to lock in that deal today and tell them FranCoach sent you. Hey everyone, I wanted to take a quick break from our podcast to tell you about our amazing friends at Entrepreneur. If you're looking to become a franchisee or simply learn more about business ownership, and guys, let's be honest, you're listening to the Franchising 101 podcast, so we know you have some interest in this. And I really encourage you to go to entrepreneur.com to check out all of their great content and resources. Seriously, Entrepreneur has everything, all the way from a bookstore to the best podcasts, webinars, and videos, plus information on upcoming events and the latest articles that seriously, they cover all aspects of franchising and business ownership. If you're having trouble deciding which franchise is right for you, start with Entrepreneur's renowned Franchise 500 ranking, which highlights the best franchises of 2022. For 45 years and counting now, Entrepreneur has been and continues to be the most widely recognized and respected authority in the franchise market. Digital and print subscriptions are available, so you never miss out on anything. So seriously, what are you waiting for? Go to entrepreneur.com right now and learn more. So once we figure that out, here is our cost to run the business. Here is our average revenue per month, right? Now you can get a little deeper in that with the franchisors of how long did it take you to get, enough customers, that $13 ticket to pay all the bills, right? How long did it take you to get, $5,000-$6,000 a month painting jobs to be able to pay the bills, right? Did you do that in month 1? Was it month 6? Get a cross section, get an average of that. So when we have those things, now we can sit there and go, okay, here's what it cost. I've paid the bills. Now, what is every dollar past that? Well, guess what, folks? It's yours. So do with it as you please. And let's say I'm going to use painting again as an example. Let's say it costs us 15 grand a month to pay all the bills for a painting franchise. And again, I'm just throwing simple numbers out there, folks. So don't hold me to anything. Okay. And it is, excuse me, $6,000 average job size, right? So let's say we get 5 of those. That's 30 grand in revenue, $15,000 to run the business. So we have at this point, really, this is going to be gross profit of $15,000. With me on the math, right? What do you do with that money? Well, you do whatever you want with it. Again, it is yours. So as an owner, so at that point, maybe we've ran some, I've got my car through there. I've got my cell phone, some basic things of mine, but I haven't actually paid myself. So I could take that 15 grand. I could take every dime of it out and I could go to Tahiti for 3 weeks. Maybe that'll pay for 3 weeks. I don't know. You get the point, right? But it's my money. I can do whatever I want with it. Now, should I pull every dime of it out and go on a vacation? I mean, probably not the smartest thing, but I can do it, right? So as an owner, what the smart play is, like, again, what do I need out of there to, again, same math. What do I need to pay my bills at home? I gotta pay my mortgage. I gotta buy groceries. I don't have to worry about my car. My car is being paid for by my business as a cell phone, right? So I've got these things. How much do I need to pull out of there? Well, pull that out. Keep the money back in the business. Maybe we're reinvesting. Maybe we're saving for a rainy day. Maybe we're saving up to add another territory. All of those things, it's yours. So when people get hyper-focused on net anything with this, it can be really dangerous because it's not painting the true picture of what this is all about. Okay. Then from there, I know use the example we had somebody a few months back was looking at a resale. And I'll give you another example how this can be get a little skewed. Is we're looking at a resale. It was a service-based franchise, been in business for about 10 years. They had been pretty consistently doing somewhere between $1.5 million and $2 million a year in revenue, right? But they were showing almost zero on the bottom line, right? So, like, how is that possible? It looks like this on the surface. This is where, again, things can be misleading. Top line revenue is vanity, right? That's a good starting point, but it is vanity. What we want to figure out is how do we get to the bottom? Well, what we when we actually went back and had our client do the math, what we found out was so the owner was paying themselves, and again, this is all fine to do, but was paying themselves a salary of about $175,000 a year. Okay. Now I can get into the debate on whether that's the smart thing to do from a salary perspective and a tax standpoint, but that's what was going on. So the owner's paying themselves that. They're paying their spouse 125, and the spouse wasn't really doing much in the business. They had 4 different cars running through the business. 2 may or may not have been driven by their kids. They had 4 different cell phone plans in here, right? So right off the bat, I mean, there's 300 grand just in salary owner compensation, plus all of the other things that were being flowed through the business, right? Which got them down to looking like they weren't really making any money, which again, from a tax standpoint, is going to be a benefit for them. So again, looking at the net, looking at the top, looking at the bottom, really dangerous. Looking at the top is your starting point, but then we want to do the math. So if that all sounds a little confusing and overwhelming, it's because it is, but that's why you work with somebody like us and our team at FranCoach is we're going to help walk you through this. Just simply do the math. And I'm not talking about algebra math, folks. Like there's no letters mixed in here. It is pure add, subtract, multiply, divide. This isn't like when I'm in school. If you want to grab your phone, use your calculator, it's all acceptable now, people. So we're going to help you with that. So cost to run the business. What are your fixed costs? Things like rent, your marketing. What are your cost of goods? What are you selling the products of this? What's the cost of your labor? Okay. Don't forget marketing. Sometimes people forget marketing. You're going to spend 3, 4, 5 grand a month minimum on marketing. Guess what? Without that spend, you know how many customers you have? Yeah, not very many. Okay. And then the revenue. What's the average ticket price? What's the average length of time they're with us? Whatever that particular business is. Maybe it's something that's a membership model. It's $100 a month for a membership. Great. How many members do we need to pay the bills? How long do those members stay with us? Again, think that. And then once we have paid the bills with the revenue, everything after that is yours. You do with it as you wish. Okay. And then I'm always going to come back to my favorite little phrase with this. Money follows the fit. You are the one that's got to get your butt out of bed every day and go run this business. If it's not in your sweet spot of what you're good at, what you want to do, you'll never get to where everybody else in that brand is financially. Okay. So that's a little bit on the money piece of this. I want to just again reassure people as we go through this, and we've talked about the FDD before. It's cumbersome. It's overwhelming. It is pretty unimportant in the grand scheme of things. It does give us some basics on the financials to start with. But again, we want to use the information smartly, connect with the franchise owners, ask intelligent questions, not how much money did you make? Okay. Not doing us any good whatsoever. But that's where, again, we're here to help you with that. So you are making sure you're not missing anything, that you're asking the right questions. Okay. And then again, is it the right fit on top of everything else? So that's a little bit about the money. We've had a handful of people who kind of ask like, hey, can you talk about this? Can you talk about this? Well, there you go. Quick reminder for you, we've got a handful of things coming up this month. We've got a couple of fantastic guests that we are bringing on with our franchisors. We are, again, every single month this year, we're going to highlight one particular industry. We're going to have a couple guests from that industry to talk about why it might be a great fit for you, but also guess what? Why it may not, to help give you a little bit more insight into some of the top industry categories out there. those things are coming up. Also on February the 7th, Wednesday, February 7th at 3 Eastern. I'll be joining our friends over at Entrepreneur for a live webinar talking about franchise stuff. So, and again, talking a little bit about the industry and kind of the top and the hottest, and a little bit of the myth behind that and kind of how to work through it. So feel free to check that out. And then as always, reach out to us. Follow us on social media. Franchisingnews.net. If you're a reader, tons of great things and a lot of guest articles on there as well. It's not just all of our stuff. FranCoach.net, franchising101podcast.net. Again, .net people. Reach out to us. We're going to help you figure all of this out and perhaps help you find a way to create your better tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Stay safe, be well, and we will talk with you next week.